Commander Lyra Kess stared out at the blue-green planet filling the viewport. It was beautiful, a swirling jewel against the black backdrop of space. Earth, home. But it was a home Lyra had only seen in old recordings. A home swallowed by disaster 1,000 years ago. Her heart ached with a grief she had inherited, a longing for a past she had never known. Their ship, the Genesis, shuddered as it pierced the atmosphere. Lyra gripped her command chair, her gaze fixed on the approaching surface. Desolate continents, scarred and cracked, filled her vision. The landing site, a plateau once home to a sprawling city, was now a silent expanse of dust and rubble. This was the legacy of the atmospheric blight, a catastrophe that had choked the skies and driven humanity to the stars. Lyra and her team, the Return Corps, were the first humans to set foot on Earth in a millennium. Their mission to reclaim their ancestral home and rebuild what was lost. Centuries before Lyra's birth, Earth had been a very different place. Thriving cities glittered across the globe, monuments to human ingenuity. But beneath the surface, a crisis brewed, a slow-burning disaster decades in the making. Climate change, ignored and mismanaged, had ravaged the planet. The polar ice caps melted, swallowing coastlines. Storms raged with unprecedented fury, tearing at the fabric of civilization. Then came the blight, a toxic haze that blanketed the atmosphere, turning the air itself into poison. Desperate humanity had poured its resources into a desperate gamble: interstellar colonization. Giant arcs, carrying the seeds of a dying civilization, fled a dying Earth. They journeyed to distant stars, searching for new homes among the cosmos. Earth, once vibrant and alive, fell silent. It became a ghost, a cautionary tale whispered by the descendants of those who had escaped its fate. Unbeknownst to those who fled, Earth was not entirely abandoned. As the blight tightened its grip, a group of scientists and engineers chose a different path. Calling themselves the Preservers, they dedicated themselves to healing the planet, safeguarding its future. Deep underground, they constructed a network of bunkers, self-sufficient havens shielded from the toxic atmosphere. Using experimental technology, they worked tirelessly to repair the damage. They developed atmospheric scrubbers, vast machines designed to cleanse the air. They nurtured genetically engineered plants, hardy species capable of surviving the harsh conditions. The Preservers became the silent guardians of Earth, their existence unknown to the generations that followed. The Genesis touched down on the dusty plain, its engines sighing in the stillness. Lyra stepped out onto the alien soil of her ancestors, the gravity of the moment pressing down on her. Around her, the Return Corps fanned out, their boots kicking up clouds of red dust. Their mission was one of exploration, of assessment. They were to evaluate the planet's condition, to search for any signs of the Preservers, whispered to be nothing more than myth and legend. Their search led them to a hidden hatch, almost completely buried beneath centuries of dust and debris. It was the entrance to a Preserver vault, a time capsule from a forgotten age. The vault was a marvel of preservation, its air stale but still breathable. Inside, the Return Corps discovered a treasure trove of knowledge-detailed records of the Preservers' work, their research, their hopes for the future. There were seeds, carefully preserved, representing the biodiversity of a lost world. And at the heart of the vault, they found a holographic projector, its surface covered in the dust of ages. Lyra, her hands trembling, activated the projector. A beam of light flickered to life, coalescing into the image of a woman with kind eyes and a tired smile. This was Dr. Anya Sharma, lead scientist of the Preserver Project, speaking to them from across 1,000 years. Section 6. Echoes in the Archives. Dr. Sharma's voice, echoing in the silent vault, was filled with a weary hope. She spoke of the blight, of the agonizing decision to stay behind while others fled. She described the Preservers' mission, their triumphs and setbacks in their fight to heal the planet. She spoke of their belief that one day humanity might return. "We chose to be the caretakers of this world," Dr. Sharma's hologram said, her voice thick with emotion. "To preserve its beauty, its legacy, for a future we may never see. If you are hearing this, then humanity has survived. You have returned. Learn from our mistakes. Rebuild with wisdom. Honor the sacrifice of those who came before you. Section 7. First Steps on Sacred Ground. The message ended, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. Lyra and her team stood in awe, humbled by the sacrifices of the Preservers. They had inherited a legacy of hope, a planet brought back from the brink of annihilation. The task ahead was daunting, but the Return Corps were not daunted. They established their base camp, their efforts bolstered by the technology and knowledge recovered from the vault. They began the arduous task of planting the Preserver seeds, nurturing fragile shoots in the rejuvenated soil. They activated dormant atmospheric scrubbers, watching with satisfaction as the air quality slowly began to improve. Section 8. Rebuilding among the ruins. Years passed. The Return Corps grew, augmented by new arrivals from the human colonies scattered across the stars. The air, once toxic, became breathable again. Plants flourished, reclaiming the barren landscape. Animals, long extinct in the wild, were reintroduced, their calls filling the air with life. The ruins of the old world, once grim reminders of disaster, were slowly absorbed into the fabric of the new. Cities rose from the ashes, powered by renewable energy harnessed by Preserver technology. A new society began to take shape, one built on the principles of sustainability and cooperation. Section 9. A Future Woven from Hope. Lyra Kess, her hair now streaked with silver, stood on a hill overlooking a landscape reborn. Below her, the lights of a thriving city twinkled in the twilight. Children laughed, chasing each other through fields of wildflowers. The air was sweet and clean, the breeze carrying the scent of pine and earth. They had accomplished the impossible. They had returned to the ashes of their past and built a future from the ruins. Lyra knew there would be challenges ahead, but she also knew that humanity carried within it an indomitable spirit, a capacity for resilience and renewal. As she looked up at the star-dusted sky, she felt a surge of hope. Earth was alive again, and this time they would protect their home.